A Shady Plot by L.C. Brown. Now before going to the summary, I would like to introduce some of the characters of this story. List of characters. First one, John Halleck. He is the narrator of the story. Second is Jenkins. He is John's boss or his publisher. Third character is Gladolia. She is John's maid. Next is Helen, the ghost. Next is Lavinia. She is John's wife. Next is Laura Hinkle. She is Lavinia's friend. Now, let's start with the overview or the summary of the story. John Halleck was a ghost story writer. Though his stories were not published in all magazines, there was at least Jenkins magazine to publish his stories. For this, Halleck was not in a position to refuse to write the ghost story as and when asked by Jenkins. Having agreed to write another story for Jenkins, John Halleck sat at his table, waiting for a new plot. He waited for such a long time, but no idea dawned in his mind. But mind wandered off to things like his wife's habit of buying every fad that come into the market. Then, all of a sudden, a ghost appeared. It was the ghost of Helen. Ghost said that all the ghosts are going on a leave and that they should not be disturbed by people like Halleck. She explains that it is actually the ghosts who have been helping all the writers to get new plot to write on. They have formed a writers' inspiration bureau which helps these writers. If Halleck wants the ghost to help him further, he has to stop all his friends and relatives from using Wizardboard. Now, at noon, while Halleck is still trying to work on a story, his wife Lavinia brings a Wizardboard and she has organized a party with the women from her book club to play that Wizardboard. Halleck tried to convince his wife to drop this idea, but it was all in vain and his wife was determined to organize such party. When he came back from work, he was forced to join them in the party and his wife made him a partner of Laura Hinkle to play on Wizardboard. As they started, Laura asked Wizardboard to tell something. Now what were those words? Let's see. Wizard dear, won't you tell us something? Wizardboard replied, Traitor. Then Hinkle further questioned, Wizard dear, won't you explain yourself? Wizard replied, Sorry, you won't explain yourself more fully? Then Wizard replied, Ask him. Next, the next Mrs. Halleck, she continued to put questions in front of the visa board. Then the next question that she put forward was, ask who, visa? Visa replied, John Halleck. Then the eagerness of Mrs. Halleck, it grew more and more. Then she asked another question. Visa, won't you tell us who is talking? Now, the answer that Visa board gave was shocking. It gave the answer, Helen. Hearing this word, Mr. Halleck loses all his senses. He was totally shocked. Now, when Lavinia came, Hinkle started to tell everything to her. Lavinia looked at the narrator. He was taken aback. He was shaken. He left the party. Next morning, Halleck, who was in his room in a mourning state, as Lavinia has threatened him by sending a piece of paper on which it was written that she was going back to her grandmother and her lawyer would communicate with him later. Just then, the ghost of Helen reappeared. The narrator told her that due to her he had lost his wife, home and happiness. When Lavinia came to bid him bye, Halleck allowed her to go without resisting, as he did not want Lavinia to look at the ghost. Lavinia realized that her husband is concealing something from her. Then she pushed her husband and saw the ghost of Helen. She was not at all surprised, neither she fainted as it was expected by Mr. Halleck, and that was the reason why he did not want his wife to see the ghost. Courageously asked the ghost that she thought she was Helen of Troy. The ghost replied that she used to be Helen of Troy, New York. The ghost then left them and said that she would meet them later. Now, Lavinia felt sorry for her reaction, and then the narrator had a strong desire to write. Now he had an excellent plot for a ghost story. So, this way this story ends, and at the end, Mrs. Halleck she feel ashamed of her behavior towards her husband, and she even begged sorry for that. And now Mr. Halleck had a very good plan, a very good plot to write a new ghost story, and he began to write the story for his publisher Jenkins. Now, let's check your knowledge. Let me put forward some of the questions. First question. Why was John reluctant to join Laura in the party? Again, I will repeat. Why was John reluctant to join in the party? To join Laura in the party. Next question. Why was Helen calling John a traitor? Next, very small one word answer questions. In the visa board, in the visa board party, there were total dash visa board. Next question. Helen the ghost was about dash feet tall. Next and the last question. The writer encountered the writer encountered with the ghost at what time of the day? So I hope you'll definitely answer these questions. Okay, thank you.